I'm set. We'll just sort of take it from here. Ready? Let's go ahead and start.
Right, started.
Okay, welcome to brain cutting. We're going to do a standard neuropathologic examination of a human brain. And what I have here is an example of one such brain we're going to cut today. This is a brain that was removed at autopsy a few weeks ago, fixed in formalin for approximately 7 to 10 days. At that time period, it's really hard enough and firm enough for us to actually examine. So we'll start off by picking up the brain, getting an idea about its weight, put it in the highly sophisticated scale, and it comes up with a weight of 1,200 grams. The normal brain weighs anywhere from 1,100 grams to as much as 1,600 grams, but the average brain weighs around 1,300 grams. Male brains are about 100 grams heavier than female brains on average, and that pretty much is proportional to body size. To remove the brain from the skull, we have to, of course, cut through the calvarium and then also the pachymeninges, and we do not have either of those structures here. What we're left with at the time of neuropathic exam, for the most part, is the leptomeninges and the brain contained within them. The beginning beyond weight, we want to look at the cortical surface. We see the normal gyral and sulcal pattern. We want to assess atrophy, which we can of course see by brain weight, but we can also see by widening of sulci. We don't see any evidence of that. Now, for the most part, the sulci and gyri are hidden underneath very thin leptomeninges, which you can see here, but they've been lost here in the superior surface during the extraction of the brain. The leptomeninges are described as thin and translucent. I think those are reasonable terms for that. You can identify the blood vessels coursing along the sulci in areas like that. But what we don't see is any opacification or inflammatory infiltrate in the leptomeninges. So looking through those thin and translucent membranes, we can see a gyral pattern, which is indeed unique to every individual, just like your thumbprint and eye retinogram. The structures, though, basically can be lumped into approximately 3 gyri moving from front to back and 3 or 4 gyri from center to lateral. Looking at the lateral surface of the brain, we begin to make out the different portions of the brain. I'm just roughly encompassing the frontal lobe. Now back here, the parietal lobe, and then the occipital lobe here, and of course the temporal lobe in the front. So all of those gyri look nice and full, and there's no evidence of atrophy in any portion of that. So the superior surface of the brain don't tell you a heck of a lot. We have its weight. We don't identify any atrophy either by weight or by expansion of the sulci. So time to flip the brain over and look at the inferior surface, which tends to be much more informative. Again, we have the leptomeninges covering the surfaces, but they are thin and translucent, so we can see right through them, and we can see the gyri. We can see the first cranial nerve here. That's the olfactory nerve lying along the gyrus rectus. It comes back to the second cranial nerves here at the optic chiasm. Behind them, the infundibulum, which I can point to with the scalpel like that. And you can see the third nerve escaping here around the interpeduncular fossa. We don't see it on the opposite side.